Okay, hello everybody. Here's PEAVY from Rage, and you're on Sonic Perspectives.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another interview of Sonic Perspectives. I'm Rodrigo, and my guest today is Mr. PEAVY WAGNER from the German band Rage. PEAVY, thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you for inviting me.
Let's talk about Resurrection Day. It's a revamped lineup that you have, but you managed to once again write an album with the Rage DNA, right?
Yeah, I'm really happy that it turned out to be like this. First time to play with two new guys, and they really made their way into the band very quickly. And the album sounds like Rage with some fresh attitude.
Yeah, very much so. And can I ask you, what's the process like to select new members? I mean, what's a must-have or a must-not-have if you want to join Rage?
I mean, it's not like we're changing here the musicians every week or so. It's not like this. I mean, what is needed? You need to be a kind of good musician to be able to play your instrument, but in a way that is needed here for this band. I mean, you don't have to be like John Petrucci or so, but at least you have to be able to play. You have to kind of be a nice guy. That's what I think. That's for me the most important thing now. As I'm getting older, I don't need any more of this kind of ego guys, this big egos. This people that are more important than everything else in the world. Someone that is a team player that is a nice guy and a good team player. That's the most important.
Okay. I think the biggest difference from me this time around is that the guitars are crushing on the new album. And it's amazing how many possibilities are open when you have two guitars in the band, right?
Yeah, that was the reason, of course, to add a second guitar player. I don't know why we did it that late. Now, we could have done it already a while ago. And I don't know if you want to hear the story, how we come to this. We had the plan to bring Stefan in the band, Stefan Weber, one of the new guitar players, to bring him in the band. Already we made this plan with Marcus, the guitar player that had to leave the band, unfortunately, last year. Stefan was playing in Marcus' second band. He had a Dio cover band called Dio Legacy, and Stefan was a guitar player there. So we had the idea to bring Stefan in the band by middle of last year. This would have been then. When we got the plan, it was already 2019. So. And then, unfortunately, by beginning of last year, after we released Wings of Rage, Marcus became some serious private problems that that forced him to give up playing in Rage. And so we had not only to bring Stefan in the band, but also to replace Marcus. And that's when Jean came in the picture. He's another guy here from my area. And know him already since a couple of years, and remembered him to be a real nice guy, and also a good player. And we were pretty lucky that both guys also like each other and harmonized really good together. And so here we are.
That does help. Yeah. And I remember you presented this new lineup almost a year ago with a re-recording of The Price of War 2.0, right?
That's right. Yeah. We thought it's just a nice idea to bring a video. It was kind of live recorded video, to bring a video that introduces the new band members better than just posting a photo. Here's a new guy. Look at it.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And was the new album affected in any way by COVID in terms of logistics or release date or even lyrically?
No, lyrically not that much. Maybe in one song on Black Room, it talks a little bit about this since the lockdown situation. It was, of course, we had a lot more time. Usually we would have been touring all the time and would have only be able to ride in between the tour sections. This now because of the pandemic situation, we were completely out of concerts. We had a few streaming shows in between, but nothing really that demanded time. So we had plenty of time to work on the new material, to work in the new guys. That they could find into the band, into the music. We wrote, of course, a lot more stuff than we now released, and we had plenty of time to record the album then. So
I see. Yeah. My overall perception is that although the new album is really heavy, there are less thrashy moments and more melodic moments than on Wings of Rage, for example. Not sure if you agree with that statement or not.
I'm not sure if I think there's still a lot of thrashy moments in the songs. But yeah, of course, this is a matter of taste, so I don't really want to argue with you about this. Well,
on the first single, Virginity, there is a thrashy vibe. If you can tell me about that track, it's not about sex, is it? Or not just about sex?
No, not at all. That's in the lyrics, there's a kind of red line going through the album. It's a kind of philosophical view on the cultural evolution of mankind from Stone Age to now, and Virginity is a song that basically deals with this very early situation back then. 10,000 years ago in the Neolithicum, mankind changed his behavior drastically from being nomads, being hunters and collectors, living with nature, to settling down, becoming farmers, breed cattle, whatever, and get possession, collect possession, and aggression came up, first wars came up, all this turning point in mankind's history led to all the big problems we have nowadays, today, all this overpopulation, all the climate crisis, whatever, all the wars leads back to then. And Virginity deals basically with this original situation, which is described also in the Old Testament of the Bible as paradise lost. When Adam and Eve gets kicked out of paradise, and it talks about this situation when mankind was still virgin, and we lost this kind of innocence, from this point.
Yeah. And fast forward to 2,000 years later, we have Monetary Gods, the second single, which, talks about money issues and, how we're drawn to money as opposed to being happy and so on, right?
Yeah, there's these new gods nowadays, and money rules the world. Where the money flows, everything goes,
Absolutely.
And also wherever there's a war, there's people making money with this, So the trace of money is always also the trace of blood.
It is very much so. Yeah,
unfortunately.
One of my favorite songs on the album is Traveling Through Time, which is inspired by the Renaissance composer Giorgio Mainerio.
Right.
Actually, I caught a Celtic vibe on that song, to be honest. Can you comment on that one?
Maybe because in the Renaissance they use this similar harmonies that are used in Celtic music. Basically, this song is definitely older. It's it was a dance song back then.
Yeah.
And
I heard the original one. It does have that feel of dancing and everything. So
yeah. It was a circle of several dances. And this is one of the most popular melodies of this. There's a few other also among this, and especially in the Italian or in the South European room, this is like a traditional, And I had some ideas to this, like forming a metal song out of this. Had a chorus, had a kind of groove ideas, I had some riffing ideas. Showed it to Jean, to one of the new guitar players. I was not sure if this would really fit the Rage, And he said, we can just give it a try, and see what comes out. And he started to do a demo from this, doing the drum programmings, And I realized he got the rhythmic section, he got completely wrong, He set up the rhythmic completely different to the original. But this sounded very interesting, and even more interesting in my ears than if you would have pushed it back to the original vibe, And that's how the song developed. And then in the end, when we already had it, we got the orchestration from Pepe Herrero for this, which brought it back to the origin of the song, and that's how it developed,
Cool. I'll tell you what, man. Don't let Steve Harris listen to that song, or he's gonna want to steal that riff from you.
You think so?
I think so. It does have like an Iron Maiden kind of vibe, especially compared to like their latest output, which is, has those long intros, those Celtic vibes as well. So yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if I can avoid this.
Yeah.
It's open. It's out in public, and anybody can hear it. Whoever wants.
Absolutely, yeah. And since I started getting into metal around 84, 85, I always heard that metal and classical music would go well together. And you kind of explored that with Lingua Mortis Orchestra, a project that you carried through a few years ago. In your opinion, what is it about metal and classical music that blend in so well together?
Yeah, we still continue working with this Lingua Mortis Orchestra. We just toured 2 years ago with them again. And metal and classic basically is pretty much the same. It's music just played with different instruments.
Yeah.
But from the composition style and from the power itself, you can compare those kind of music styles pretty good.
Just more distortion, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And back to the album, with songs like Arrogance and Ignorance and Mind Control, you come across as someone who's pessimistic about the current state of society. Is that the case?
Yeah, I have a bit of a pessimistic view on some things, some development in our world, but in the end, I always try to stay optimistic. Maybe we are clever enough to get the right decision for the future.
Yeah.
But I mean, what else can an artist do than to just show up problematic things that he sees, just to show your finger here, there's some development wrong, That's all you can do as an artist,
Absolutely.
We're not politicians.
Yeah. Oh, far from it. Yeah. At the other end of all the heaviness, you have a great ballad called Back Room that gives a little bit of breathing space halfway through the album. Tell me about that one.
Yeah, that one goes back to an idea from 1998 or 99, I think it was around this. I wrote this originally for the Ghost album back then, and it never really got finished. Somehow we never really finished it, and I pushed it through all the years. Always like to bring it up again here and then, But no one ever really, or we never really found the right solution to finish this song. And now, first time, thanks to Stefan Weber, our new guitar player. Thanks to him that we finally found the right rest to the song to finish it, and bring it out finally, after 21 years or so.
Yeah, no, awesome interpretation from you on that track, man. Congratulations, and thank you for that anyway.
Yeah, thank you.
And we were talking about contrast, heavy versus melodic, and your voice holds up quite well on both types of songs. What changes for you when you're about to record something like Black Room versus something so heavy like the last track, Extinction Overkill, for example?
Every song demands an interpretation, that fits to it. So I think I'm aware of what a song needs, and that's how I try to interpret it then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and with you playing bass and doing vocals, you actually control both ends of the sonic spectrum, the bottom end, of course, and the upper register too. I heard Sting saying this about his music, that it gives him some comfort and like a sense of control of his music. Do you feel the same?
Who said this?
Sting.
Sting, or what?
Yeah.
Gordon Sumner from Police.
Yes.
That's interesting. I didn't know that he said this, but I understand what he means. Of course, it's when you also play an instrument, especially the bass guitar, which is like the connection between the harmonic stuff that is going on in the guitars and whatever other instruments, and the rhythmic stuff that's going on in the drums. Because you're playing very rhythmically, and also with at least a basic of the harmonies, which connects you as a singer more to the song. When if you're just singing, then you're not really aware what's happening under your vocals. What harmonies are happening there, what chords. and also about the rhythmic stuff. You're not that much into the picture. Probably if you're playing some instrument. Also, and I think the bass is very comfortable for this.
Yeah. Changing the subject a little bit, I love the artwork on the cover of Resurrection Day. It's a nice segue from Wings of Rage, I believe. How was the collaboration with the artist this time? Did you give him any indication of what you wanted or not?
Only very few. I just had a very rough idea about how a sound chaser coming out of a volcano with lost souls around him, but that was all. And I just told him, do whatever inspires you, do what you feel, and he surprised us with the one, and we all like it.
No, it's really cool. It definitely complements the song very well. Yeah. Great. And recently we lost one of the co-founders of the band, Jochen Schroeder, someone who was very important to the band in the early years. Can you comment on that?
Yes, of course. That's really a big loss for me, especially because Jochen was, they said sometimes in life you meet persons that give you some impulse in a direction that without this impulse you would never go this way. And for me at this point back then, when we were kids, I was still 17 or so when I met him, 16, 17, and he gave me this big impulse back then that made my whole musical career possible. Without Jochen, I would never have done this. I would never be here 40 years later, being singer in a rock band, having released 26 albums and all this. All this wouldn't have happened without him. And in the beginning of Avenger Rage, not only that he was one of the founding members, also he was. I would say the motor back then in the band. He was kind of the leader in the very early days. He was pushing us all to what was needed. And it's a big loss for me. Especially I lost him a little bit out of sight in the last years, because he moved away and I had no telephone number. I had no idea where he was. I tried to find him, but there was nothing in the internet too, And now I know after I talked with his family, about the way he died, and I know that he was very lonely in his last years, and this makes me even double times sad,
Yeah, he will be missed for sure. Yeah. And you mentioned the 26 albums. You have to be one of the most prolific bands in all history of metal. I don't know any other band that has 26 studio albums like you.
Frank Zappa.
Maybe Frank, he's not metal, but Zappa has 100. I don't know.
Yeah, he was the most productive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Zappa was the most productive artist ever lived.
Absolutely.
I never planned to have such a big output,
Yeah.
I just love writing songs, and there's always ideas coming out of me and it just developed to go there,
And as you mentioned, there's ideas in the vault as well that you go back to from time to time, right?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I have a big pool of ideas from all the times, even earlier than the 80s, even in the 70s when I made my very first steps on the guitar. There's still ideas back from this time. And sometimes I just revisit those old tapes. Sometimes there's some real nice ideas that inspire me to something new. Then, or I can use single parts from the stuff. I guess every composer is working like this. I guess.
Yes.
Someone like Johann Sebastian Bach or one of those big classic dudes, they also worked like this. I know it was known,
Yeah. And what would you say was the highest point and maybe the lowest one in all the band's history?
In 40 years, oh fucking hell. There were really a lot of high points, for me personally. For example, first time hitting the stage with a big symphonic orchestra in your back, This was amazing. We played on a castle in Austria.
Oh, wow.
At nighttime, there were like stakes burning everywhere, fires everywhere, It was really like a medieval situation, and we came there with this orchestra, and I was shitting my pants, and it was so big this moment, This was really a moment to lift up your soul, whatever. There are lots of moments like this, the lowest point, there were also a few when the band broke up, For example, in 1987, when the first lineup really broke up, and I had to start completely new. Mm-hmm. Same situation was back then in '99, when this lineup broke up. This is always the saddest point for me, when you have worked with people that you thought were your friends, for a couple of years, and then all turns out into just chaos, or even in frustration, or in, I wouldn't say hate, but in mistrust and everything, all this shit, And this is, of course, very disappointing, also on a personal way, This I would call the lowest points,
I see. To finish off, what are the touring plans that you can confirm at this point in time?
We have set up a tour for Europe over here in November, December, which we hope we can play. Of course, the pandemic situation is very weird over here in Europe, and the restrictions and all the rules change by week. So you can never really say what's going to happen in December, But of course, we're in good hope. And if not, we have to push it, of course. We are working also on the future, on touring in other parts of the world. There's also a plan to tour North America first. After all these years, we have a collaboration with a new booking agency, a really big agency over here that have a lot of American big acts.
Nice.
But I cannot say anything about how far they are already with this. And of course, this also depends completely on the pandemic situation, when this kind of touring is possible again, But for I'm looking bright in the future. I think sooner or later it's going to happen again, and then we'll be back on the road.
Yeah, fingers crossed, man. I'm in Toronto, by the way. I've never seen you guys live. I'm a big fan. I hope I can catch a show as soon as possible.
Yeah. I do the same.
Yeah. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Yeah.
Yes, we do.
PEAVY, thank you so much for your time, and all the best with the new album, Resurrection Day.
Yeah, thank you very much for your support, for your invitation, and greets to your listeners. And I hope to see everybody as soon as possible.
Thanks, man. Take care.
Goodbye. Yeah, take also care. Goodbye.
Bye. Okay, everyone, thank you for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed this interview with PEAVY Wagner of Rage. The interview is available on many different platforms: YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Let's wrap it up with the song Monetary Gods from Rage's new album, Resurrection Day. Take care and rock on!